fish on. A number of years ago, I made a video about these little guys right here, creek chubs. More specifically, the video centered around me trying to catch my personal best creek chub. Now I have to say, this video was a ton of fun to make. It was really refreshing to get out and do something a little bit different. I honestly wasn't really sure how this video was gonna turn out. Over 70,000 people ended up watching that video, and I got a lot of positive feedback about the video itself. And ever since that video, I've had a slight fascination with minnows, or as some people would say, bait fish. So today on American Trash Fish, it's all about bait fish. I'm going to spend some time trying to catch one specific species of bait fish that I think is very cool, and then I'm gonna take some of those home, cook them up, and see if they're any good eating. And hopefully along the way, we can grow to appreciate them a little bit more. Let's get into it. When it comes to fishing here in North America, we use two criteria to determine a good catch: quantity and size. For example, if you go out walleye fishing and you catch your limit of walleye, that's considered a good catch. You caught a bunch of them, that's great. Or if you go out fishing and only catch one bass, but that bass was 10 pounds, that would also be considered a quality catch because of the size. Now, I am not here to dispute these facts. Catching a bunch of fish is a ton of fun. Catching big fish is also a ton of fun, and I understand why most anglers tend to chase big fish or chase numbers of fish. But in my personal experience, there's a lot of joy and excitement that can come from pursuing fish that most people would think are garbage. Hence why I made this series. And that's where bait fish come in. You see, for most anglers, bait fish are simply that: bait. Something you'd put on your hook to try and catch a bunch of fish or a big fish. Or at the very least, bait fish are just considered part of the ecosystem that help keep the bigger fish alive. But like I mentioned at the start of this video, my perception on bait fish and the whole kind of minnow genre has shifted over the years. When I was just a kid, I spent a lot of time running barefoot through creeks with a fishing pole, a rusty hook, and a little bit of worm. And I would spend all day with my cousins and my brother just catching creek chubs and any other little minnow that would bite. Those were simpler times when just getting out, fishing, and experiencing nature was exciting enough. But as I got older and I got more skilled at fishing, my focus shifted. Now it was all about catching the biggest fish on planet Earth, or catching as many fish as I could. It was about outfishing other people and proving to them how good of an angler I was. Thankfully, I have course corrected that mentality quite a bit over the last 10 or so years, and now I honestly just have a ton of fun fishing for whatever bites. It doesn't really matter the size, it doesn't really matter the species. I have found a new appreciation for small, beautiful things. So in this video, hopefully, I can share some of that inspiration with you. Like I mentioned, I'm going to go fishing for a bait fish. But you may be asking, what bait fish am I fishing for? Well, it turns out to be a bait fish that I don't have a ton of experience with, so I'm really excited to have the opportunity to catch some. That would be the shiner. I am looking for some very small hooks. Those are not quite small enough. There we go. Now that's what I'm looking for. I also need some very small flies. Alright, here we go. Actually, that might work perfect. Dun, 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 dun. Got the goods. Alright, so I'm out here at a spot that I found a couple of years ago, and I know for a fact there are some big shiners in here. There's two goals for today. I want to try to catch a couple of shiners to take home and see if they're any good eating. And the second objective is to try and catch my PB shiner. So that is the plan for today. I have a little measuring tape with me. Today I'm going to be using the fly rod right here. I'm running about a 5X tippet on this thing, which is pretty light. I got a little dry fly on there. I also have some nymphs, which I might try. I saw a couple topwater bites when I first rolled up, so I'm excited to see what happens when I put a dry fly in there. I'm really excited. Hopefully we can catch some nice shiners today. Who knows what else we'll catch in this pool. I don't really know what else is in here. So I fished a little bit with the dry fly in here. Only got one topwater hit. It looked like a decent shiner, but still only one hit. I'm gonna go ahead and switch up to the nymphs. Seems like most of the fish are still subsurface, so gonna switch up to a tiny nymph, and hopefully that'll get us going. Got this sweet little beaded nymph right here. Gonna tie it on, give it a shot. Just had a vehicle stop off and ask if I'm catching any fish. No, I'm not. I think they thought I was a little crazy. I said I'm fishing for minnows or shiners with a fly rod. All right, I'm gonna have to pivot a little bit. It turns out these little nymphs right here are still a little bit big. I think under the right circumstances, I could hook a nice shiner with this, but for the most part, I'm seeing a lot of fish taking the bait and I'm not hooking them. So I'm just gonna keep downsizing. So I picked up these this morning. These are a size 20. For comparison's sake, this is the nymph that I was using, and this is a size 20 hook. So a lot smaller. I might just take a little bit of like a soft plastic worm or something, shave a little piece off and put it on there, just so it has a little bit of something for them to bite on. So now we just have a tiny little piece of soft plastic on this little hook. Hopefully this little setup does the trick. I'm gonna come right back over to this spot. There was a nice school of shiners right in here, and they seemed very hungry. Here we go, there's one on it, yep, one-handed. Oh, I got it. All right, finally caught a shiner here, guys. Check it out. First shiner of the day. All right, we caught one tiny little shiner. I'm gonna go ahead and put this strike indicator on here. I'm fishing the big pool now. This is just gonna allow me to cast a lot farther. There's a lot of wind today, and it will also act as a little bit of a bobber. I can see if it twitches. That one. Oh, it's a good one. Yeah. I'm sorry, these fish are beautiful. They got this gorgeous gold color to them. That's a nice one right there. I'm gonna go ahead and dispatch this fish because this is definitely eating size. Absolutely gorgeous fish. There we go. Ooh, this feels better. Feels a little better, boys. What we got is a better one. All right, we're finally catching some shiners. It's been a very slow day. The weather hasn't been great either. We've had a bit of a cold front. It's been really windy, which made the fly fishing really difficult. There we go. Ooh, that feels better. That feels better. Yeah, this feels like a little better one. Yeah, that's a better one right there. I tell you what, these fish have such a beautiful gold metallic color to them. They're honestly very, very cool. Awesome. After catching that initial batch of shiners, a couple of days later, I went back to the same pool to try my hand again at catching a big shiner. And let's just say, this fishing trip did not end super well. I just need that big one. Okay, I just lost my... What in the... What happened? Did I just snag the back of my back? I think I did. Yeah, no kidding. I just embedded a hook in my back. Oh, that's in the skin too. Oh my word, what? Hold up. Time out. All right, so I had a bit of an accident. I just made a cast with my ultralight rod and reel, and I felt the hook smack me in the back, and the bobber went flying and actually broke the line and flew off. Now I can feel the hook actually embedded in my back. There's a line, as you can see. Ow! Ooh, that hurts. Yeah, that's sensitive. That might be in past the barb. Huh. That's in there. That is definitely in there. I can't get it out. Wonderful. Well, I think that ends my fishing for today. I gotta go home and get this hook out of my back. Most random way to hook yourself too. Snag myself in the back. That's it?
Yep. That's the hook.
Right. Thankfully, after about 5 minutes of discomfort, my sister was able to remove the hook. Okay, ouch.
Sorry.
And we're back in business. To butcher the fish, I went ahead and filleted the shiner, or I should say attempted to fillet the shiner. This was quite a challenge because the fish is so small. This took every bit of my fillet skills to get this little piece of meat off this fish. For cooking the shiner, I kept it very simple, just a little bit of oil in the pan and a little salt. This little fillet pretty much disintegrated as soon as it cooked, so it doesn't look the prettiest, but let's see how it tastes. Here we go, going in. I'm gonna be honest, I've eaten better fish. It does have a bit of a strong flavor to it, but it's definitely edible. Again, I don't really think it's worth your time to catch and clean something that small, but in a pinch, you could eat this. Are these the best tasting fish in the world? No. But that's not really the point of this video. The point of this video was to take a look at a fish that I think is underappreciated. I honestly find shiners to be very, very beautiful fish, and actually catching them can be somewhat difficult. They're very finicky. When they bite, you have to use very small hooks, and it's actually quite challenging to actually get a good hook set into them. So in closing, I want to celebrate the beautiful fish that is the shiner. And I think I know one way in which I can do that.